What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here, bringing you my review for Allied. Now, the plot basically follows Max Vaton, played by Brad Pitt, a Canadian fighter pilot during World War II who teams up with a French resistance fighter named Marion Beausejour, played by Marion Cotillard, and the two are tasked with taking out a German ambassador, yet subsequently fall in love, get married, and have a kid. However, when Vaton is informed that his wife may be a double agent, Vaton is tasked with finding out for himself, or he must kill his wife. This movie is directed by Robert Zemeckis, which had me interested in seeing this movie as I always want to see what this director does next. He has made many great films in the past, and with the two leads in a concept like this, it looks really compelling. Right off the bat, it goes without saying that Pitt and Cotillard do tremendous jobs in this film. These are great actors on the top of their game, as always, and they themselves have immediate chemistry on screen. They always light up the screen when they're together, and they themselves have emotional cores to each of their characters that get tested as the film rages on, especially after Pitt's character finds out that his wife may be a double agent. The writing in this movie definitely sets itself up for a very intriguing concept, with these two assassins teaming up to take out a German ambassador and then subsequently falling in love. This, right off the bat, sets up also how the movie even flows along with its pacing. The pacing in this movie is deliberately slow. Now, that's probably the biggest issue I have with this movie, in that audience members may get put off by how slow moving this film is in not having that much action. I will say when the action does hit, it is very well shot, really well executed. But with its gradual pacing, this movie feels like a film that was made back in the 1940s, and it even tributed Casablanca. Now, I'm not just necessarily talking about the classic movie of the same name made during this era of World War II. I'm talking about the actual location itself. The production and costume designs with this film are outstanding, to say the least. It looks like we are really in this time period, this actual location, the costumes, the way everyone looks, speaks, acts. Basically, it's a very pretty movie to look at. Goes along with the cinematography too. This movie also has quite a bit of noticeable CGI. Robert Zemeckis is notable for revolutionizing CGI in some of his movies, but in some instances, I was a bit put off by that because it was quite noticeable during certain sequences. It wasn't overbearing, but this, along with the pacing, are my biggest issues with the film. But I will say that what this movie does with its concept is pretty different. The first and second halves of this movie are radically different from one another. The first half is very much a romance movie setting up how Vaton and Beausejour subsequently fall in love, get married, have a kid, whatever. Second half is the spy movie aspect, where we see if Beausejour really is a double agent, with Vaton trying to figure out if this is the truth or not. It's not even a typical spy movie in that aspect either, with it being more of an investigation film with Vaton trying to get answers. I have to commend the film for doing that, because it could have gone really all over the place, but really the only part that went inconsistently was the pacing. It ran for about 2 hours, and yeah, I thought it could have been cut down a bit, but what this movie does in the end, especially with the intense final 10 minutes that really threw me for a loop, I felt that it was something that worked in the end. All in all, I would have to say that this is definitely not one of Zemeckis' best films. It's certainly no Back to the Future or Forrest Gump, especially with this film having a tendency to chug along at certain points. I will say that Pitt and Cotillard are always great, especially in this film. The writing had me interested in what would happen next, that it had me invested to see what would go on. The way it approaches itself as a spy romance was different, especially with those final 10 minutes or so. Again, I cannot stress enough how this movie really turned me for a loop during those intense moments. I would have to say that this is something that would entertain you if you're especially into old-fashioned type movies, like how this movie was approached and being made, and on that level alone, I would recommend it. My final verdict for Allied is 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Allied, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.